Hello! Bonus video for Dweebovision, and it's a collab with Will Anderson, who runs one of the two best Scrabble channels on YouTube. Will also works for Scopely, and they've recently released a new Scrabble app called Scrabble Mobile. Will suggested we play a game on the new app, and I said yes, so let's go.
All right, it's time to utter the legendary phrase. The game has started, and it's my opponent to go first. Honored to be making my first appearance on Dweebovision today. Let's see what David's got for me in this game.
Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. Now, if I press and hold shuffle, we get the rack in alphabetical order. So, well, no bingo here. And a lot of high scoring tiles. I'm minded to get rid of all of them. And I can do that with Hauk. For 28. Okay.
So he's got the first move, Hauk, using up a nice array of high-scoring tiles. And meanwhile, I have a few too many vowels here, so I'd like to use some of these up. How can I do that? Some kind of play underlapping feels nice. I'm not seeing immediately how to really do well with my F under here, though. I suppose something like oaf here has some merit, setting my S up, though there is already a good S hook. So maybe I should be looking for another idea. In the absence of any other good ideas, do I have any? Should I play Kufi here? Now, after this play, there would be two S hooks on the board. But I would be keeping two A's. All right, well, in the interest of time, I guess I'll play oaf, not really seeing anything significantly better. The thing I worry about this is the leave's still pretty bad, and I temporarily have, well, I guess I do have another S hook here. So even if David underlaps, if I were to draw something really miraculous, I would still potentially find a way to bingo. I wonder if it makes sense to pluralize Hauk here. Does this make any sense? Ugh, maybe. Well, I can't bring myself to do that, and in the interest of time, my play is going to be oaf for 19.
Okay, so 19 for Will. I've still got a non-bingo rack. Scoring tile in the F. And vowel heavy. Now, calf is good. So, surely that is the spot for me to play. I think Hauk takes a C in front for future reference. So I could play just EF. But can I do any better? Woo is also good. So do I have any OFE or OFA words? I don't. But I could just play of. Duplicate E isn't terrible. I'm minded to do that. Wow, keeping 4 vowels. What am I scoring? 37 points. Not giving very much away. Aha, NEF would leave AEO. I think AEEIN is better. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me come back. I'm going to play FAE just to leave a slightly better vowel consonant balance.
Ooh, okay. There we go. FAE. As far as underlaps go, that's a pretty standard one. Placing my A under the K, definitely invited that. I would say with my two S's, this almost necessitates that I underlap with calves. So something with this is going to be almost certain to be my play. It's going to get many more points than any other option. I could keep my S's with a play like a Jew here, 27. That opens the triple. There's no real need to do so. And it also doesn't score as well as I can probably get here. So something like this looks decent. The only drawback of a play like this is it keeps the U, but I think I can live with that. I suppose there are other options that use the U here. Oh, maybe this is the play. 36 using the U. So AIS versus EUS. That's a close one. This play does create another spot to use my S down here, so I would have two of them if I were to draw well with my S. It does open up the triple for certain hooks, but really, what are the hooks? B, M, bust, mused. The F's are gone for fused. It might not be as bad as it looks, actually. I don't think it's that easy to play down from here. So I think the U is toxic enough that I'm going to go with this as my play.
Okay, so 36 points for Will. That's good. I don't have a tile to go in front of that, and my rack is atrocious. I think my options are to change or to play. I think Heine is good, Heine, but that's only going to be about 10 points, and it's going to leave two vowels. So I am going to change my tiles, and I'll keep just E and N.
David swapping 5 tiles. That's a break for me, to be sure. As my own tiles are not particularly good. So, playing something like Aya here, where would it play? I think, unfortunately, the only logical place to dump my vowels is here, which opens up a triple back. I would love to dump something here to place my T here. I guess maybe is this worth it? 20 points. Yeah. This is probably worth it. I don't think there's any way for me to use up more vowels than this. I think this, obviously 3 vowels and an S as a leave is not ideal, but this feels better than exchanging to me.
Okay, so 20 for Will, who now leads by 10. I don't have a great rack. It's balanced, but P and V together not good. And I'm not seeing any bingos here and no floaters on the board. What I could do is play Via and either Aha or R, leaving Pine as a rack leave and not giving away terribly much. Yeah, I'm minded to do that. Well, am I? Because Avi is good, which does play to make R high. Yeah, I'm going with Via. For 14.
Okay. immediately I can see that I'm going to have double doubles through that V. So David clearly struggling with difficult racks here. Just to quickly go through the alphabet, I can see evasions, aversion. Let's just quickly D E G H I L. L feels like something. No, I guess maybe not. Stovane, not helpful. So I think it's either evasion or aversion. Evasion places the S right here. So you can see that would create much easier access to the triple. Any scoring tile that meshes with an S is going to hit quite hard. So I think I'm going to go with aversion, placing the blank R. That's definitely going to blunt the sting of the open triple, and it's 90 points.
Oh, wow, 90-point bingo for Will, which is excellent. And what it also does is block my bingo of Plenish. I had Plenish and UH all ready to play. I don't think it plays anywhere else. Aversion does take an S at the end, but that doesn't work with Plenish. So, do I have a bingo through any of the new floaters, I, O, and N? Hip lines. Wow, I do have a bingo. Hip lines through the I. What about the O? That's not a bingo floater. What about the N? No. So, and I don't think there's anywhere else to look. Aversion is the first play of more than 4 letters long in this game. So very few floaters and not a wide open board. We sort of have a staircase, but in the middle of the board rather than approaching the corners. But that's going to change. Will's bingoed and I'm about to bingo. And this is going to be super volatile because it's going to open a triple lane. Let's hope this is good. Hip lines for 67.
Very nicely spotted. Hip lines. So prior to that play, I was happy to have drawn the B for the bust hook and feeling like Bulgy was going to be fantastic to play, leaving ED. Now, very different situation. That's not available. However, the H, at the very least, hugely is going to score. If not hugely, it's going to score quite well. I'm not sure I would give 45 the hugely designation as a score, but that looks like a good play. Let's think for a moment about whether I might have something better. The only drawback is the BD leave. It would be amazing if I could somehow keep ED or EL, but I just don't think that's happening here. I can't imagine. It's just my instinct is that there is not likely to be anything better than this. It's a good amount of points.
Wow, nice score for Will, 45 points. So I trail by 50. But look at this, I've drawn the first blank, or the second blank rather. R of aversion was the first. And I have slimmed and aversions. I also had lined up dilemic. That hugely has blocked that. Slimmed does get the points from aversion, but doesn't get doubled. So is there something better? What would something better look like? Probably a double word square through the P of hip lines, or a bingo beginning with the Y of hugely. Well, I'm not seeing a Y bingo. What about a P bingo? IMP goes well together. Implumed. Well, I think this is this is... Well, it's Void Challenge, but let me abuse it mildly with Implumed, which I'm expecting to come off, and then I'll get slimmed down. Invalid word. Okay. So, back. I don't think slimmed has got an anagram. Oh, M gets doubled. That's nice. Slimmed for 75.
All right, second blank comes down, so we have ourselves a game. My lead quickly evaporates. I do have good tiles here. We should point out, though, that I don't have an S hook here. It looks like I should, but I don't. So the S could be stronger. I suppose a very simple idea would be something like this for 21, leaving good bingo tiles. Again, I would feel much better about that if I had a really useful S hook somewhere on the board, but maybe we just do this anyway and be patient. Do I have any crazy overlapping plays here? Would go all the way down. I guess both of my vowels would fit here. Doesn't look like, I don't think I have anything in that spot. So currently my best option would just be mob. Doesn't feel great. What about something like this? 34. Opening the base of the board. If you look at the tile bag, I have the last S and both blanks are out. So I really would hesitate to use this S just for scoring here. I think I want to keep it. What about playing something up here? Could this be the way to go? Do I have anything good up there? In orb. Nothing starting with a B, seemingly, which is what I want. Robin. Okay, I'm really not seeing anything that much better than just playing mob. I guess the scary thing about this is that David can then come back. Should I play Nidor? I think the EN takes too many hooks. Even though this sets up my case S in a nice way, the EN takes way too many hooks, including the E. So yeah, I don't love leaving this spot open, but I suppose I'll just go with this, and maybe I'll get lucky that David's play across from the E going in this direction. Maybe it'll be a word that pluralizes with an S. I'm sure he'll try to prevent doing that if at all possible. But if it does, maybe I can hit a bingo in response.
Okay, so 21 for Will, and that takes away my super hot X spot under the E of slimmed, where I was contemplating playing Ox, but I had the backup of playing Max. However, Mob has also blocked that. So, what to do? B, G, Q, and X, very non-synergetic. And I could deal with that by playing Borax and Z through the A of aversions. But what other options are available? I don't think there's anywhere great for the Q. And certainly I can't play the Q with B, G, or X. So if I park the Q and try and get rid of 2 out of B, G, and X, then I think that's a better plan. Just looking at the E of slim to see if I've got any 5-letter plays. but they'd need to begin with R, and I'm not seeing any. So I have borax and Z. Any other candidate plays? So anywhere for Gox? Don't think so. Yeah, let me play borax. I don't feel great about this. There may be a better option. I would have gearbox through an E, but no floating E available. Gosh, miserable 23 for the X, but I couldn't see anything better.
Okay. I should probably count myself lucky that David had the X, but no I to go with it for this spot right here, or else I would have been hit significantly harder. But I didn't have, at least to my eye, don't have a place to. I almost have conspired. Well, I'm not sure how close this is to almost 2 squares away. Incorpsed also nowhere close. Unless there's a trickier word that's an anagram of that. But yeah, consider does not fit. Prescind through the P does not fit. And I have a bunch of sevens that don't appear to fit on the board. So it's time to come up with some different approach. The game is very close, so I don't need to overreact necessarily here. I would say the number one wish that I have is an S hook. I would love it if there was a good S hook on the board, but I don't really know how to set one up. What would be amazing is if I could play something that S hooks here, ending in C, so that it made it extremely difficult to overlap. I don't believe I have such a play. I mean, something like Dicer, is this worth it? This is quite easy for David to overlap, and I think he's going to immediately suspect at least both H's are gone, so I can't get hit with CH underneath this. But when he sees this, he's going to immediately suspect, why would I play so aggressively creating an S hook? Why, if I was really scared, I could play Riced or something like that that didn't S hook, although Dicer does score significantly higher. But I suppose the overlapping potential isn't that scary. I guess the Z could be bad. And other than that, maybe it's not so bad. Okay, let's try it. Hopefully I didn't miss a bingo somewhere.
So 34 for Will. Dicer takes an S. I don't have one. R only takes an E underneath it, so there's absolutely nothing I can do bottom right. But I'm still pleased with that play because the only place I'd spotted for my Q was above borax, where I have cat. I have trank on my rack, but I can't see anywhere for it. Let me just pull back from this, because is there any I available for Cade or Caddy? Well, there is the Eye of Hip Lines. I've got Caddy, but for a face value score. So I am going to go with my first option of cat for 28.
Wow. So David saddled by the Q. he can't really do anything to address my spot and use up his Q, so he plays up high. Now I'm wishing I had the C back so I could play sink up there, maybe, but I guess what I'm really wishing is that I had drawn a 7 that I see. I don't think I have any. I don't quite have the ability to play openings here. It would go off the board one square too far. So I got a huge break there that David wasn't able to address the new opening on the board. But how do I create a second one? Because that's going to be his top priority now that he's gotten the Q off his rack. So do I play there myself? I don't think so. I think I have to let it sit there to retain some tension. But what do I do then? Do I play something like on 2? Keeping an extremely strong leave. This feels kind of crazy, but that leave is amazing. You could definitely expect that David's going to block dicers on the next turn, and then I'm going to need to be able to bingo through the O of on 2 or potentially get lucky again through the P of hip lines. It feels that just doesn't feel very good. Do I play Goner and just try to keep scoring something and drawing more tiles? Maybe that's the way to go. 18. Sheesh. This is a tough one. Or do I just play Nog? Is it possible that I play Nog leaving INGS to come back with? Does this... Can he hit me with something to the G? Yeah, there's 2 I's and 2 N's. Oh, man. This is a tough one. I just cannot imagine how he does not block the dicer's hook next turn. So I don't really know what good Goner does. He's going to play down there, and then what? If I play on 2, at least if he plays down low and I feel compelled to, I could play through the O at the top of the board and reopen things. Only scores 8, though. Oh my gosh. This is a tough one. Really tough. Hopefully I'm not missing something really obvious. Oh, maybe I do this. This seems insanely aggressive in such a close game, but at least this creates some tough decision making on David's part, where now you've got the G and the E in the top of the board open and the dicer's hook down low. Okay, I gotta make a choice here. This feels very insane. There's not even that many E's left. And the vowel consonant ratio is a bit challenging too. So when I play on 2, there is a C for canto after this as well. So I have concerns, but I guess if he's playing anything with canto, it means he's not blocking dicers. Okay, let's try this. This is really insane.
Okay, so just 8 points for Will. And I suspect he's must be keeping 5 pretty good tiles. And also, I wonder after Dicer whether Will also has the final S. That's possible. I still can't do anything about the bottom right-hand corner. I don't have a vowel which can go next to the R. And I've got a pretty horrendous rack. On2 takes a C in front. Let me have a look at the tile bag. Still one C to come. So what I was thinking about doing was playing rigid through the first I of hip lines. taking out the P as a bingo floater. I'm now thinking about playing Daunting through the O of onto. There's very little on my rack I wish to keep. Daunting takes out the C front hook for onto, and also G is a tricky but not impossible tile to hook. So I feel overall this is a better play than Rigid, and I haven't seen anything else. So Daunting for 22.
All right. Daunting. So that's really lucky. I did note that there was a consonant imbalance in the bag, and clearly David had a ton of them. So he's used the opportunity to shed a lot of them at once. This makes me concerned that if I play something like awing here, I could use my E, 42. Now that David's used all of those consonants in one go, it's possible that there are 4 E's to come. So it's possible that I actually do want to use my E here. 42. The pool is much more balanced than it was after David's previous play. So I think I'm going to do this. It goes without saying that I don't think that's a word, or else I'd be playing that down low. So I think I'm going to pivot to this. And let's see what I draw from the bag. Uh-oh.
Nice score, 42 points for Will, who now leads by about 20. I've drawn the Z, which is great. And onto a floating E, I would have out prize, but none available. Going back to my previous consideration, when I was thinking about Rigid through the eye of hip lines, I had in mind that it was taking out the P as a bingo floater and also taking out the triple word square in the middle here, which I felt was vulnerable for a big Z score. I do now have the Z myself, but I'm not seeing a play in that spot. I was contemplating Pout, where Will has played Or-ing. Now, I do have ZO above Dicer, but I don't have any 3-letter play there. And, well, interesting. Will's play of Or-ing, did he retain an S? Did he retain an S? Dicer may, although I inferred an S, it wasn't an inference of absolute certainty. Or-ing, why play Or-ing 6 tiles rather than A-W-I-N-G? Why play the E? Don't know. If you're retaining an S, retaining ES seems much more bingo-y. But if he doesn't have an S, turning over an extra tile increases his chances of drawing it. If I play ZO above Dicer, well, ZO not only takes an S, it also takes other floaters. So, what to do? I now trail by... Is that right? Still only 20? Okay, I could play ZO top left above the D of Daunting. 37 points. That's nice. Retaining the U, not so nice. Tricky. Just looking at the new floaters in Or-ing in case I have anything, but I surely don't. It's just the N and the G that are bingo floaters. Yeah, there's nothing to be done bottom right apart from ZO. Or is there? What about POS? What about POS? Yeah, 38 points, and that does spoil the S party. And And there was a shortage of vowels when I checked during Will's turn, so although this Rackley doesn't look great, in the context of a vowel shortage, it improves. I am going with this.
Okay, that's somewhat merciful because he had the Z and opted for pause. That's a good block of the dicer's hook. ZS is not really gonna go down often. So that puts me in more of a bind. Pool has all of a sudden, it was so consonant heavy and now it's vowel heavy. So my previous draw has changed things quite a bit. So the scary thing is the J is still out. The C is still out. So there are canto plays that would play up here. So the C is now an important tile. And probably worst of all, of course, is that I have no vowels. So my dicer's hook is gone. Dare I play sty for 26? I don't know. I still can't bear to get rid of this S. I feel like the S is still maybe useful there. Do I play this and hope for 2 E's from the bag for Svelter that would play up here? I guess stranger things have happened. There are 2 E's. What are some other draws that I can get? Varlets, Vestral, Travels. Those don't really help me. Might just be up to the EE draw here. This doesn't really do anything for me, but I have so few options with all these consonants. So I guess I'll just go for it, I suppose. Let's hope for EE. That's what we want from the bag.
Okay, so 29 for Will, who leads by 12. My rack's suddenly looking a little more bingo-y, but no S for outraise or sautoir. But if I play off OU, then I am keeping a bingo-y set. Very few scoring tiles to come. J and, well, let me show you. If I click on tile bag, those are the remaining tiles. So 5 vowels, 9 consonants. So very vowel dry. And not great consonants with the J and the V. But look at the others. 2 R's, 2 T's, an S, C, and L. And then imagine drawing those tiles if I play off just O and U. The risk is that there is a risk that I draw vowels. Even 4 vowels makes the rack non-bingo-y. But I do have OU bottom left with low and U. And wow, what's the end? I'm contemplating my rack being bingo-y, but where are the bingo lanes? So there's underneath AG. AG takes A, E, and O. So that's a lane beginning with a vowel. N and G as initial letters, not great. But they do exist. B exists, again, not great. Ed takes an S. OU would really interfere with that, so I may need a better OU spot. And what about above hip lines? Stopping opponent from scoring handily with the J or the V, something like, is Jiva still available? It's not, because no I's, but there could be a J play in that spot. Well, OU takes out the P floater, and if I'm going down the route of keeping a bingo-y set of tiles, maybe I should be trying to keep as many bingo lanes open as possible and possibly open a new one. So what can I do? OU is never going to score very much, so I don't really need to worry about comparing scores. So I could play it above Dorting for a humble score. Yeah, I'm minded to do that. I think this P could go quite well with AEIRT. Or I could play OU next underneath the N and G of oaring on the grounds that N and G are not useful initial letters, but OU takes a ton of hooks, including R and T, which I would be retaining. Let me revisit the tile bag. Is Will going to bingo? He may have the S. Well, not really. Not really. 7 tiles in the bag. If the worst 7 are in the bag, he could have a bingo. But does he? What was his last play? NY. Yeah. Oaring, he was definitely getting a random set of 6 tiles, and NY could just be for score. Will does not need a bingo to win. He leads by only 12 points, but this is a tight board. And he's definitely got the option of winning without bingoing. Okay, so any other OU spots? I could play OU underneath AG. And then that U would take an R or a T underneath it. It would be a shame to have retains and nowhere for it to go. Well, I guess I would have Ganister. I could also play OU under IN. This is tricky. Maybe I do play it above RT to stop Will making a 3-letter play ending in C for 20 or 30 points. This is so tricky. I definitely want to keep the P available. Let me again look at the tile bag. If I play OU under NG of oaring, what can Will put next to OU? No vowels. R, T, and S. So I could be gifting precisely the spot that Will needs to bingo, which would be absolutely galling. Wow, this is so tricky. I am playing at the top. It's possible Will may open the board, and my rack lever is probably better than the bag looks like it could be. Yeah, I'm going with this.
Wow. Just OU. So he's blocking the C. Blocking the C. Maybe doesn't have the J yet, or else he would just play JO up there to block it. So he can't have had the J or C on that play, which is crazy because that means they're likelier to still be in the bag, which is bad news for me holding all these consonants. Wow. How do I proceed? The nice thing about that play is it didn't score very well. So, is there anything I can fish to like recool? I don't know. I don't think there's anything with COU that I can fish for. All right. What to do here? I don't really have a way of going down into the lower right corner here with the dicer's spot. I don't have a way of scoring. I was thinking maybe I would try to just play splurt. 18 points. This would empty the bag. I would be up by 22. David could then go out in 2 against me. I would have a V on my rack, potentially drawing into the J and C, which would give me really, really bad timing going into this end game. But if I'm not going to go this route, then what am I doing? Do I play something like Virus? This is very weird looking, but it at least gets rid of my U and V. Sets up my T. That's not that great. Maybe I draw into Taj or something. The J plays nicely up there. I really want to get rid of this V. What about something like Eruv? That sets up too good of a spot for JU. Could he do anything with that? Sure, Juice is in there. Juddier. Wow. Brutal. Do I have any way of drawing something like that? Do I continue to go for Svelter? All 4 E's are still there. Feels like he's going to block that if I play UR somewhere. But what if I just play Ner for 9? Trying to draw 2 E's again. I don't know. I feel like the J and C are so likely to be in the bag. I use up my only vowel. I don't know. I guess I'll just head straight to the end game. Can I win these end games? Doesn't feel likely. Taj and Raj are waiting for me in the lower corner every time. So maybe I'll do this and hope to draw EE. And then when he plays Taj and Raj down low, I go out with Svelter. This does not seem like a good plan. Oh, there's 1 E, but not the other.
Okay, so Will plays Ner for 9. And I wonder if he's in a similar boat to myself, feeling that he's super close to a bingo, and that's his best shot at winning. I have got a very bingo-y rack, but I can't see a playable bingo. All the bingos with N don't begin with N. I'm not seeing a 7. I don't have anything beginning with G. I don't have a 6 letter play ending in Z. The only ones I can see are ersatz and entree. Now, 3 tiles in the bag. So, do I continue my bingo fish? Always very tempting. And there's the 3 tiles in the bag. They include the J and the V. Surely, when Will played NUR, he didn't have the J and the V on his rack. And he's pretty unlikely to have drawn J and V, although he may have drawn one of them. But if I play off 2 tiles, there's a good chance I could draw a J or a V. Now, I'd still like to keep the P available. There could be a bingo through that P, but I've been staring at it and nothing has come to mind. I have Pierce for about 20, giving me a 7-point lead. That's the other option, to score well and then with a view to going out next turn. But of course, that massively fails if Will bingos. Whereas if I play 2 tiles, then if Will bingos, I may be able to win by bingoing back. So, well, given that the J and the V are in the bag, I could play off just 1 tile. The risk to that is that Will plays off 1 tile, I bingo, and Will gets another turn. Whereas if I play off 2 tiles, then Will's play will empty the bag. So my bingo would end the game. But where is there for CE? If I were to play off 2 tiles, this set, but that takes out my precious P floater. which I think does look attractive with R and T on my rack. So maybe there isn't a CE option. Oh wow, I can see I could play ace bottom right, emptying the bag. Interesting, emptying the bag, but of course retaining 7 tiles. So if Will doesn't have a bingo, I could then bingo. Very interesting. Is ace the play? Because I'm only 13 behind. Will got only 9 points. Let's have a look at this tile bag again. What did Will have when he played N-U-R? So he played off a precious vowel. There's no danger of duplicating the U. So he must have, I would say, at least 2 of A-double-E. So I think it's reasonable to suppose that everything in the bag is a consonant. But just looking at these 10 tiles, what bingos does Will have, even if J and V are in the bag? Well, I think Ags is good, so Startle certainly. Let's go back to the board. Startle and Ags. Yeah, if I play Ace, Will bingos and it's game over and it's all a bit wretched. But if Startle comes down, well, there's not very much on offer. So I can play. Well, let me click on my phone. I can play core through O and R, and that is massively gambling on a bingo. But I think I'll do it because Will has got. If I have a bingo after playing this, Will has got to bingo immediately, or I win the game. I'm going with this.
Core. He must continue to not have the J. 1 in the bag. Wow, that's crazy. Well, what do I do about this? I can't play down there without emptying the bag and not having a bingo. So if I play this, drawing the E, it's going to be blockable. There's only one spot for it. Do I have something better? Not really. So what happens here? If I play this, draw an A or an E, I get starve or stirve. This is probably better. I get setter, sitter, astert. Certainly feels like the J is very likely coming, or else David would have been playing it here. So if I draw the J, I'm probably just in trouble no matter what. I think it's just this and hope for the best, I suppose. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so Will has not bingoed. He's played Lev for 23. He's got a 30-point lead, only 6 tiles on his rack. And they are AE, RS, double T. So Stater, which plays to make Ags. And Spatter through the P. So I think my race is run. I didn't draw well. I drew a J and an E, I think, on my last track, or a J and an I. Not wholly unlikely. So I've got JA top left for 30 points. Drawing us level, but not good enough. I don't think I have anything fancy through the P. JP are not good. I was eyeing up the bottom right, thinking if I hadn't played core, then Taj would have been an option. But what is the least losingest play now? I've only got one move. No EJ plays on my rack. I noticed there has been a bingo lane open for a while in that Oaf takes an S, so a 9-letter play ending SED would have been possible. Also, OR was open for a 9, but I don't think my rack was close enough to benefit from either of those. So I could play Jeep, but that doesn't score the same as Jar. I'm going for Jar top left.
Yeah, he must have drawn the J after core because there were a number of good opportunities to use it beforehand. So now the only question is what's technically better between a play like this, 18. There's no need to give an extra turn. And yeah, it's going to be spatter.
And Will goes out with spatter for 20. So final score 371 for me, 401 for Will, a winning margin of 30 points. So well done to Will. Let's review the game. Not sure I can see anywhere to say well done to him, but he will, I'm sure, see this video. So there is a review feature here, and I think you can see at the bottom the candidate plays, and I'm not sure, I don't know enough about the app to know how these plays are chosen, so we'll go through this fairly quickly. I played Hauk, then Will plays Oaf, then I play Faye for 37, and then used, I think the play we make always appears on top, and then candidate plays beneath. So we're looking for plays underneath the top one, which are better than the moves we played. I swapped, yeah, and the options were were grim, and possibly dim as well. So this was Will's play. I play Veer. There's a version, a few other bingos available. Hip lines, doesn't look like there were any alternatives there to that. Will plays hugely. Now, again, no, it looks like there were no alternative bingos to slimmed, which is a relief. Borax, yeah, nothing underneath it. Massively outscoring. Oh, look, Dicers is the second option down. That suggests that Will did have the S. There's my cat play. Will plays on to. Dorting looks fine. Oaring for 42. There's my pos play. Zip top, that's quite fancy. Then NY. Yeah, and now this is where I'm making point sacrifices in order to increase chances of bingoing, which I saw as my best route to victory. Yeah, and this is where there were only 3 tiles in the bag. Will plays Lev. Jar for 30, nothing outscoring that, and Will goes out with spatter. So what a game, absolutely fantastic stuff, and really tight start with a middle of the board staircase, which doesn't happen very often, and then the board spreads out with aversion and hip lines, and we're off to the races. But I felt that both of us were close to a bingo, which simply didn't materialize, so we were absolutely neck and neck right until the end of the game. So many congratulations to Will once again on his victory, and many thanks to Will for inviting me to have a game with him on this app. Do check out Will's channel if you don't know about it. I'm sure you do. I'll leave a link in the description below. Absolutely fantastic videos, especially about the history of Scrabble, both in the past and the history as it's being made now. So if you want to stay up to date with all the hottest events in Scrabble over the board, Will's channel is definitely a good place to go for that. If you've got any questions about the app, it's brand new, so I'm sure I haven't illustrated all of its features on this video, but if you leave a question below, I'm sure Will or others will be able to answer that. So many thanks to Will once again, and congratulations on his victory. I hope you enjoyed this bonus video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
That was a really interesting game. I can't wait to see David's POV of the game. Many interesting decisions, back and forth, strategic battle. So thank you very much for the game, David. That was a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime.